This is the Mohsin Mortgage Program with Sarah Mohsin. Mohsin Mortgage is licensed in several states for residential and commercial purchases and refinancing. Call 800-662-9550. And now, here's your host, Sarah Mohsin.
And I know we're all looking forward to the weekend. We do so every weekend. It's great to be back here. We covered a great deal this past week or so. Interest rates all-time low on not only residential properties, but also your commercial properties. We are working with 30 wholesale lenders. Right now, 30-year terms, rates are around low 4%, 4.25 to 4.5%.
You're kidding.
No, not at all, Bob.
I swear, Sarah, it's like, it's just incredible. Sometimes I shake my head and I think how long we've been discussing this, and the rates have been this mercifully low. People really, I wish more people would pay attention to it, because the figure you quoted earlier this week on people who could change their lives was staggering.
Well, the figures are unbelievable. And what they correlate to as well, as you can see, Monday we were talking about, and even, I believe, Tuesday, we said 64% of Americans that don't have $1,000 for emergencies, so they would miss their mortgage payment to pay for that emergency. And I always say to folks, listen, don't look for that one thing, that other shoe to drop, and then be in a position where it's a domino effect. So if you're in a position right now, or if you think you may be in a position where you don't have that $1,000 in an emergency fund, or you are just over your head with credit card payments and you're just making the minimum payments, you need to look at this very closely. And literally, it's a 1-800 number that you can call us. We can make a quick analysis of how we can pay off your credit cards. So that money that you're paying to your credit cards, you can put towards your emergency fund. And I can guarantee you, if we are looking to refinance your mortgage today, you are probably one of those Americans who has an interest rate that is a percentage, if not 2 percentage points higher.
And you're talking about incredible savings when that situation is turned around. 1-800-662-9550 is the number to call to turn your life a little bit around. 1-800-662-9550 to find out what the Mohsin Mortgage Corporation can do for you. And Sarah, for me, you could answer a question. I'd like to learn a little bit more about the lows right now in late credit card payments. That was something you were going to be getting to.
Right. And, the big thing is, are they really at 17-year lows? They're saying that late credit card payments are currently at 17-year lows. So I had to look this up, and I read this article. It stated the credit card delinquency rate, or rate of payments 90 days or more past due, have actually dropped. So they're saying that delinquencies dropped in late payments to credit cards. But here's the thing. The reason that number also looks that good, as in the sense of why is it that low?
Mm-hmm.
After writing off record levels of uncollectible debt in recent years, most banks won't issue cards to applicants with low credit scores.
No, that's kind of a catch-22, isn't it?
Right. They have also cut back credit limits on existing cards, making it harder for individuals to run up huge balances. So that also reflects that low, that 17-year low. The average combined total debt for all major credit cards increased by $20 for the first 3 months of the year to $4,699 per borrower. Even so, that amount was down more than 5%, so they're saying. But it is actually the overall and the record levels of uncollectible debt in the recent past 2 years. So the guidelines have changed as well. They've written off a lot of uncollectible debt. They've made it harder for applicants to be able to max out their credit cards and run up huge balances. And they're actually not offering the same credit cards that were available 2 years ago to applicants with low credit scores. So they have actually made a huge transition into a different market space. Now, it's hard to forecast where this is going to be going in the next year or so, but I can forecast, Bob, for our listeners and for folks who listen to Glenn Meekum when I'm on his program, that our listeners are not going to be a part of that percentage of racking up these credit cards because they know better.
Heck no, we won't go.
Love that. But the big thing is you are now in a situation to be not only in a position of eliminating that debt, but just getting rid of a high interest rate on your mortgage as well. So there's 3 things that you can do very quickly. Remove that high interest rate on the credit cards and pay them off through refinancing. Cut your term in half on your mortgage while you're doing the same thing, and even pay off student loan or an auto loan if needs be. The options are endless. It's just a question of making a conscious decision, making the phone call to Mohsin Mortgage, and letting us look at what we can actually do for you. And we'll break it down. The good part of it is that you will have a visual, a proposal that'll show you the numbers and show you the savings. And I've been hearing so much about Groupon, and I don't know if you have, Bob, it's like the big new thing. And even clipping coupons just to save money on gas or food. And I think that's great to be that diligent. But look at your mortgage statement, because ultimately that's a one-time savings of over $200,000 for the 30-year term of your loan, if not $200 to $300 a month.
So are you going to be obsessed with saving pennies, or do you want to save dollars?
It's, well, thousands of dollars. So it is something that I encourage folks. I challenge you, actually, to look at this and see whether this is going to be to your benefit. And you know what? I even challenge you to make the phone call to us so that we can show you what your options are.
Accept this challenge from Sarah. 1-800-662-9550 is the number. You'll find that she's a very friendly person to talk to, just as you've heard on the program. 1-800-662-9550 is a great number. It's toll-free, and it should be near your fridge. In fact, it should be near your phone, so you can make the call. This is Friday, by the way, and when the program's over, if some of these ideas are ringing in the back of your mind and you're thinking about things Sarah said, say saving hundreds of dollars per month perhaps, make the call. It doesn't matter. It is the weekend, and you can make the call. 1-800-662-9550. Tell me about the doctor and the credit cards. I want you to have a chance to do that before it's too late.
It was just that there was this article, and it did say something that was quite hilarious about being the doctor with being a doctor?
Credit card pusher?
Is your doctor a credit card pusher? I just found the title amusing. I didn't realize this, but they actually have said that the past 2 years, specialty credit cards have swelled in popularity amongst healthcare providers, partially due to baby boomers to finance devices like hearing aids.
Really?
And other expensive procedures.
Oh, now it begins to make sense, too, when you put it that way, because things like that, the accessories of my aging generation, are very expensive.
For heaven's sake.
Well, they are. Hearing aids cost several thousands of dollars.
Well, it's really interesting because it said these specialty credit card issuers don't disclose their outstanding loan volume, but GE's Care credit card, the field's largest, is accepted by roughly 140,000 healthcare providers, a 40% increase from 3 years ago. So these card issuers, it's interesting. It says with all of these health insurance policies for procedures like dental implants, corrective eye surgery, and cosmetic surgery. By 2015, patients could be forking over roughly $150 billion in out-of-pocket healthcare costs, according to this one consulting firm. But high interest rates on some of these cards, and obviously a specialty niche on what has been happening because of the baby boomers.
Yeah, no, I hadn't heard of it, and every bit of it makes sense when you talk about it now. When you paint such a detailed picture, I can see people using them. And unfortunately, this is the whole problem we're talking about. Still, that wonderful American knee-jerk reaction to a credit card. In other words, it's convenient, I can carry it, I can use it, I can worry about paying later instead of now, and this is where you get into trouble.
I think the big part of it is, and it is difficult, but to read the fine print and to know what you're getting yourself into, and whether those rates fluctuate, the interest rates on those credit cards, as some do, and what the APR is, annual percentage rate. I'm not a believer in the credit card scenario. Obviously, you do need to use it. It's just making sure you pay it off in 30 days and be able to afford that. Credit cards are really, what they do is they show your financial well-being during that 30-day period for the past 12 months or 2 years when we pull credit, because it does show your financial responsibility. Once you start maxing those credit cards out, whether you have a $500 limit or a $10,000 limit, the scores start dropping. And that's where it affects you, whether you're looking to finance a home, a car, or other items.
It's all about responsibility and using these things. And I was just thinking, Sarah, the strange thing is, going back a couple of generations ago, going back to the early 50s and before, people did get their mortgages, did get their houses, but credit cards weren't part of the equation in those days for proving your credibility because there were no credit cards.
I know, and that's where these great programs that did start off, which I again have to reiterate, having a 3.5% down on a purchase of a home started with a program with the Federal Housing Administration, late 1940s. What it did was it allowed the average American, such as myself and you, to afford a home and not have to bring 50% down to the table.
Oh, yeah, exactly. America was very geared to that with soldiers returning from the war.
Right. So I really encourage folks to look at these options that we do offer here with Mohsin Mortgage. I know that you can go to your local bank and you will have that one option of bringing 20% down to own a home. I think that's unrealistic in this market, or for that matter, to be liquid is really a good thing to be. Bringing in 3.5% down on your home is a huge advantage to you. It's a fixed rate. It doesn't reflect poorly on you as a person or your affordability. It's really something that was created for the average American who worked hard, didn't want or could not bring 50% to the table in the 1940s. So I encourage folks to come to us to ask questions about how they can get better benefit for their hard-earned dollar, because that's really critical, Bob. It's a rough economy, but we can still move forward and make good decisions based on what we have, which is great interest rates, great opportunities to remove debt and start fresh.
Absolutely. And if you'd like a fresh start, why don't you just write down a fresh number, 1-800-662-9550, and don't worry about what day it is. Make the call, 1-800-662-9550. For the Mohsin Mortgage Corporation, it's the weekend. We won't worry about what day it is now. It's Friday. Saturday is just hours away. Sarah, hope you have a terrific weekend.
You as well, Bob. Stay well, Boston.
This has been the Mohsin Mortgage Program with Sarah Mohsin. Mohsin Mortgage is licensed in several states for residential and commercial purchases and refinancing. Call 800-662-9550.